Have you ever wondered what happens when the dust settles and they finally realize you aren't coming back? When a narcissist suddenly realizes that the person they left behind is completely irreplaceable, a very quiet panic sets in. We are going to explore that exact psychological shift today, so stay with me until the very end. You will want to hear this. You gave them everything, didn't you? You poured your soul into a bottomless well, trying to fix what was broken inside of them. And when they walked away, they did it with a cold smirk. They acted as if you were entirely disposable, as if they could find someone just like you on any street corner. But reality has a very funny way of catching up to them. For a long time, you probably sat alone with that devastating pain. You questioned your own worth. You wondered if maybe you really were the problem, just like they told you. It takes a massive toll on the human heart to be discarded by someone you loved deeply. But what you couldn't see from your place of grief was the absolute illusion they were living in. They genuinely believed that their supply of love, patience, and forgiveness was infinite. They thought the world was full of people willing to sacrifice themselves for a fleeting moment of their approval. They left you because they were chasing a fantasy, a delusion where they are the center of the universe, and everyone else is just an interchangeable prop. But what happens when the newness fades? What happens when the shiny new supply doesn't tolerate their endless demands? That is exactly the moment the narcissist hits a brick wall. They begin to look around their empty, superficial life. And suddenly, the haunting memory of your unwavering loyalty starts creeping into their mind. It is a slow, creeping dread. You see, they never actually wanted to lose you. They just wanted to break you enough so that you would never leave. They wanted absolute control, not a genuine separation. When they walked away, it was a power play, meant to keep you waiting in the wings. They expected you to stay frozen in time, begging for their return. They never expected you to heal. Now, they are forced to confront a world where you simply do not exist for them anymore. The silence you are giving them is deafening. It echoes in the hollow spaces of their ego. This isn't just about missing you. It is about missing the regulation you provided. You were the emotional shock absorber for all their internal chaos, and now that buffer is gone. Imagine the sheer arrogance it takes to believe you can replace a rare diamond with a handful of cheap glass. That is exactly what they did. They traded deep, unconditional love for superficial validation. And for a brief second, it felt like a victory to them. But cheap glass shatters easily. And when it does, the memory of your immense value becomes undeniable. As we dive deeper into this, I want you to truly hear me. You are not crazy for feeling like they made a massive mistake. Your intuition was right all along. They are fundamentally incapable of recognizing the worth of a good thing until they have completely destroyed it. This is not a reflection of your inadequacy. It is a glaring spotlight on their blindness. We are going to break down exactly how this realization hits them. It doesn't happen all at once. It is a gradual, agonizing descent into reality. A reality where they are entirely alone with their own broken reflection. Prepare yourself, because understanding this shift changes everything. It takes your power right back from the person who tried to steal it. Let us look inside the mind of the narcissist during the discard phase. In their distorted reality, they felt powerful. Discarding you was a high, a rush of absolute supremacy. They felt entirely untethered from responsibility. To them, emotional bonds are just chains. Breaking that chain made them feel invincible, like they had conquered you and won the game. But that invincibility is a fragile illusion. Narcissists operate on a very strict emotional budget. They cannot generate their own self-worth, so they have to constantly steal it from others. You were their primary bank account. You provided an endless line of credit. When they closed that account, they foolishly assumed they could just open another one easily. This is the tragic flaw in their entire psychological design. They lack object constancy. When you are out of sight, your value temporarily vanishes to them. They replace you with a shiny distraction, assuming that all human beings provide the exact same level of supply. They categorize people as interchangeable appliances. If the toaster breaks, just buy a new one. However, human souls are not appliances. And they soon discover this the hard way. The new supply might be fun at first. They might offer a fresh audience for the narcissist's grand performance. But the new supply doesn't know the script yet. They haven't been groomed to accept the abuse. They haven't built the deep, trauma-bonded tolerance that you developed over time. When the mask inevitably slips with the new person, things get incredibly messy. The new supply might fight back, walk away, or demand basic respect. The narcissist suddenly realizes they cannot run their usual plays. The manipulation tactics that worked so flawlessly on you are failing. And in that moment of frustrating failure, they start to remember who they left. They remember your extraordinary patience. They remember how you swallowed your own feelings just to keep the peace. They remember the depth of your empathy. It hits them like a physical blow. You weren't just a source of supply, you were a premium, high-grade reservoir of emotional safety. And they burned that bridge straight to the ground. Just for a cheap thrill. It is crucial to understand that this realization is not born out of love. I need you to hear that. They do not suddenly realize they love you. They realize they need you. There is a massive, fundamental difference between those two things. Love is about mutual growth and genuine care. Need is about survival. They realize their emotional survival is now in jeopardy. They feel a deep, gnawing sense of self-pity. How could this happen to them? How could the universe be so cruel as to deprive them of a perfect punching bag? The psychological defense mechanisms start to crumble. The grandiosity that shielded them from their own shame is cracking. Through those tiny cracks, the brutal truth seeps in. You were entirely irreplaceable. You see, an irreplaceable person isn't just someone who is nice. An irreplaceable person is someone who truly saw the darkest, ugliest parts of the narcissist and stayed anyway. You witnessed their tantrums, their lies, their devastating cruelty. And yet you offered them grace. You offered a love so pure they could never comprehend it. That is exceedingly rare to find. They know, with absolute certainty, that they will never find another you. The sheer statistical improbability of finding someone willing to endure that level of psychological torment again is staggering. The realization isn't romantic. It is cold, hard, and purely transactional. They lost their best asset. And the emotional bankruptcy that follows is utterly terrifying. This brings us to the turning point. The moment the scale fully tips. The narcissist decides they need to test the waters. They send that random text message late at night. They like an old photo on social media. They drop a completely irrelevant piece of mail at your door. It is called hoovering, and it is a desperate attempt to see if the door is still left open. In the past, this is exactly where you would have caved. You would have seen that text and felt a rush of hope. You would have believed they finally changed. They are banking on that history. They expect the old version of you to enthusiastically respond, welcoming them back into your life with open arms. They are entirely unprepared for the reality of your healing. But something profound has shifted in you. You look at their name on your phone, and instead of anxiety, you feel absolutely nothing. Just a hollow, empty void where the trauma bond used to live. You don't reply. You block the number. You walk past the breadcrumbs without stopping to pick them up. This silence is the most devastating blow a narcissist can ever experience. When your silence stretches on, the plot twist hits them. They are no longer in control. The remote control they used to dictate your emotions no longer works. The batteries are dead. They press the buttons wildly, anger, pity, guilt, but the screen remains completely blank. You have effectively unplugged yourself from their toxic matrix. And they are deeply panicking now. This is the agonizing moment they realize your irreplaceability is a permanent condition. It is not just a temporary fight. You have actually evolved past their level of dysfunction. You outgrew them. They are stuck in an endless loop of misery, playing the same old games, while you have leveled up and moved completely out of their reach. It shatters their fragile ego. The shift in power is palpable. You hold all the cards now, purely by refusing to play the game at all. The narcissist begins to spiral. Their internal narrative, the one where they are a flawless god and you are a worthless peasant, is completely falling apart. They cannot reconcile the fact that someone they deemed worthless possesses the strength to reject them. They might launch a smear campaign at this point. They will tell mutual friends that you were the crazy one. They will spin wild tales of your instability to protect their public image. But behind closed doors, the truth is consuming them alive. They know what they lost. The smear campaign is merely a smokescreen to hide their intense, suffocating regret from the world. Watch how their energy shifts. They become frantic. The cool, detached demeanor they had during the discard is entirely gone. It is replaced by an erratic, almost unhinged desperation. They are trying to catch smoke with their bare hands. But you are already gone. You are a ghost to them now. A ghost that haunts their every waking moment with memories of genuine peace. Imagine the profound poetic justice in this scene. The very person they treated like garbage is the only thing they want, and the one thing they can absolutely never have again. They built a fortress to keep you out, only to realize they locked themselves inside a prison. It is a slow, methodical torture of their own making. And no one else is to blame but themselves. You did not have to seek revenge. You did not have to plot their downfall. All you had to do was heal. Your silence and your absence became the ultimate weapon against their pathology. The simple act of you choosing yourself became the catalyst for their psychological collapse. This is the sheer power of setting a boundary and never, ever looking back over your shoulder. Now we enter the darkest phase for the narcissist, the collapse. The reality of your permanent absence settles into their bones like a deep winter chill. They are forced to live with the agonizing consequences of their own destructive actions. There is no escape hatch anymore. The shiny new supply has likely seen through the facade, leaving the narcissist totally stranded. This is where the emotional truth gets incredibly heavy. They realize that they threw away a winning lottery ticket just to pick up a shiny penny from the gutter. Every time they face a hardship, every time they get sick, every time the world turns cold, they remember how you would have nurtured them. They remember the safe harbor of your arms. But that harbor is closed. They begin to obsessively compare everyone else to you. No one measures up. No one has your exact laugh. No one forgives them quite as quickly. No one looks at them with that same innocent adoration you once had. Everyone else feels like a cheap imitation. They are perpetually drinking salt water, desperately trying to quench a thirst that only you could ever truly satisfy. The harsh truth is that they are deeply, fundamentally empty. You were the only thing giving their life any real color or meaning. They functioned as a parasite feeding off your beautiful light. Now that the host has detached, they are starving in the dark. They have to face the terrifying void of their true self, unmasked and unloved. It is a bleak, desolate existence. You might wonder if they feel genuine remorse. The answer is incredibly complex. They regret losing the benefits you provided. They mourn the death of their own comfort. But they do not mourn the pain they caused you. Their sadness is entirely self-centered. It is the grief of a thief who carelessly dropped a stolen diamond down a drain. It is about their own massive loss. The aging process makes this realization even more brutal for them. As the narcissist gets older, their superficial charm starts to fade. Their looks decline. Their ability to quickly manipulate new people diminishes greatly. They look back at their life and see a trail of broken relationships and burned bridges. And standing brightly among the ashes is your memory. They will likely stalk your social media. They will watch you living a beautiful, peaceful life without them. They will see the genuine smile on your face, a smile they tried so hard to permanently erase. It will gut them. Every milestone you achieve, every new joy you experience, is a stinging reminder of their ultimate failure. You are thriving while they are merely surviving. They are trapped in a self-made purgatory. They cannot move forward because no one compares to you. But they cannot go backward because you have locked the door and thrown away the key. They are suspended in a state of perpetual longing for a past they purposely destroyed. It is a haunting that never stops. Just an endless loop of what-ifs echoing in an empty, cold hallway. I want you to sit with that image for a moment. The person who made you feel like you were nothing is now painfully aware that you were absolutely everything. The scales of justice are finally balanced. You don't have to witness it to know it is happening. Their internal collapse is guaranteed by their very nature. A deeply flawed foundation always eventually crumbles to dust. You were never the crazy one. You were incredibly loving, deeply loyal, and intensely valuable. They were simply a blind person trying to critique a masterpiece. They couldn't see your worth, but time has forced their eyes wide open. And now, they have to stare at the empty space where your bright light used to be. That is their punishment. A life sentence of intense regret. As we move toward the light here, I want to speak directly to your soul. You survived a psychological war zone. You walked through the fire of an emotional devastation that most people could never truly comprehend. And you did not just survive it, you walked out the other side carrying your own immense worth. You rebuilt yourself from the fragments they left behind on the floor. Do not waste another ounce of your precious energy wondering if they miss you. Of course they miss you. They miss the oxygen you provided for their toxic lungs. But their regret does not require your attention anymore. Their sad realization is their burden to carry, not yours. You have finally laid down the heavy bags of their dysfunction. You are completely free to just breathe. Being irreplaceable is a quiet, powerful truth. It means your specific blend of empathy, kindness, and resilience is exceptionally rare. You are a limited edition human being. You don't need to prove that to a broken person who thrives in darkness. You only need to prove it to yourself. Look in the mirror and finally recognize the sheer magnificence of the survivor staring back. Your worth was never dependent on their inability to value it. A diamond remains a diamond even if a fool throws it away. The narcissist's failure to cherish you is a reflection of their profound deficit, not yours. You are enough. You have always been enough. The only real tragedy was spending so much time trying to convince someone who was committed to fundamentally misunderstanding you. Every time you enforce your boundaries, you are honoring your irreplaceable nature. Every time you refuse to look back, you are stepping further into your own power. Healing isn't a straight line. You will still have days where the grief catches you off guard. But the trauma bond is broken. The spell is shattered. You are no longer under the deeply hypnotic control of their abuse. They will spend the rest of their days searching the faces of strangers, desperately looking for a flicker of your light. They will wander through a barren emotional desert, dying of thirst, fully aware that they willingly walked away from the oasis. Let them wander. Let them face the ghost of their own tragic choices. You have a beautiful, completely unwritten life to start living. Surround yourself with people who recognize your value instantly. People who don't need you to break yourself into pieces just to keep them warm. Authentic love does not require begging, bargaining, or performing. It just flows. When you finally experience that healthy love, the memory of the narcissist will fade into complete insignificance. They will just become a distant nightmare. As this video comes to a close, I want you to take a deep, grounding breath. Feel the solid earth beneath your feet. You survived. You are still standing. The absolute worst is entirely behind you now. The road ahead is paved with your hard-earned wisdom and your fiercely guarded peace. You are no longer a victim waiting for closure. You are the architect of your own glorious closure. Please share this message with anyone who needs to hear it today. There are so many survivors sitting in the dark, wondering if their abuser ever feels remorse. Help them understand the profound truth of their own irreplaceability. If this resonated deeply with you, drop a comment below and let me know how you found your strength. Your story might be the exact spark someone else needs. Remember this above all else. They did not break you, they merely introduced you to your own hidden strength. They thought leaving you behind would destroy your world, but it only cleared the stage for your bright